The return of the rivalry 13 years in the making is upon us. Texas versus Texas A&M is back, baby. Why is the A&M offense improving? What makes the Aggie defense formidable? And most importantly, can the Longhorns secure the most important win of the season at Kyle Field? After the video, head over to Inside Texas to stay up to date on your favorite team. I produce the new Inside Texas Football YouTube channel and I'm live Monday through Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Central, so come hang out. Inside Texas is the best spot for insightful team news, accurate recruiting updates, and top-tier game analysis. Subscribe to InsideTexas.com and the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel today. Links in the description. This game matters even if there were no stakes, but this one determines who gets to play for the SEC championship. No more talk and hypothetical arguments. It's time to see who runs the great state of Texas. Without further ado, let's get into it. In year one of the Mike Elko era, former Kansas State offensive coordinator Colin Klein was selected to lead the Aggie offense. He's known for his heavy run focus with both backs and quarterbacks, his use of tight ends, and his ability to keep an offense moving forward. A&M started the year with former five-star Connor Wigman. He struggled with a league's second worst completion percentage, throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. On top of poor performance, he just lacks leadership intangibles, and his poor attitude is evident on the sidelines. Ultimately, he got benched in the LSU game, bringing in the redshirt freshman from Nashville, Tennessee. Marcel Reed definitely brings a spark to the offense that Wigman doesn't provide. Reed has a calm, confident demeanor paired with play-extending athleticism that unlocks some exciting possibilities, but he's still inexperienced. Reed isn't accurate currently with a 59% completion percentage in the bottom 5 of SEC quarterbacks. Sometimes he makes some nice throws, other times he misses a wide-open guy. And as with many young quarterbacks, he's headhunting a bit too much with a high 11.1 average depth of target. He's second in the league in time to throw, so he's holding onto that ball too long looking for the deep shot. Learning to progress down to more shallow reads and checkdowns will increase both his accuracy and his ability to not stall out on offense. And right now, those deeper shots aren't even landing, completing just 26% of his shots over 20 yards. That's second to last in the SEC. So that's a lot of risk for little reward currently. Reed's seeing the field best in that intermediate 10 to 20 yard range though, where he can hit guys over the middle or at the end of a long crosser. He's 5th in the SEC in completion percentage at that range. But to be well-rounded, he needs to be far more efficient in the short game, ranking 14th in the SEC on completion rate below 10 yards. And as a younger player, he still needs reps against the blitz too, having the 3rd worst completion percentage when teams do bring the heat. In crunch time, he can try to force it like versus South Carolina or before half of the New Mexico State game, and that can result in the interception, but Reed's generally pretty good at taking care of the ball. And of course, Marcel Reed can move, and that helps in several ways. He avoids the pass rush with a top 3 ranked pressure to sack rate. He can escape out of the pocket and work towards the sideline to complete a pass, or he can just straight up run. And it's not purely improv, he's a danger on the designed runs too, where he can pull the ball with an above average 5.7 yards per rush. Reed has some dynamic traits and he's been able to improve weekly after being thrown into the fire. He's intelligent, poised, and has the required physical traits, so his future is on an upward trajectory. We just have to see if he can do that against the best passing defense in the country. Right now, Reed is the 15th graded quarterback overall in the SEC. The A&M passing game is pretty good, but not great. 36th in yards per pass, 50th in passing success rate, and 46th in passing explosivity. They have a solid floor at receiver with several guys doing good work, but they lack any true top receiving threat. Leading the team in targets with 57 is the 6'6", 200-pound junior Noah Thomas. The outside threat Thomas and the quarterback can struggle to connect though with a bad 54% reception rate, but he's top 3rd in yards after catch, so he is able to make some plays. With that large catch radius, you have to be worried about him climbing the ladder on you, but he's not just a pure possession guy, evident by him housing that 73-yarder versus Auburn, and posting an above-average yards after catch per reception. Watch for him in the red zone or striding in that intermediate range. Overall, Thomas ranks 22nd of 45 SEC receivers. Slot receiver Jabri Barber has the 2nd most targets with 41. The 5'10", 182-pound senior Troy transfer is your typical speed slot, with 65% of his targets coming at 10 yards or below and a bottom 5 average depth of target. The MO is just give him the ball quickly and let him get to work. With the easy completions, he's fairly reliable, catching 71% of his targets and is slightly above average in yards after catch per reception. Definitely a faster player on the roster to be aware of, but not as explosive as intended. Barber is currently ranked 17th of 45 SEC pass catchers. The opposite starting outside receiver is the 6'4", 205-pound senior Ja'Day Walker, and he has 33 targets. Walker doesn't have any singular elite trait, but he's top 10 in reliability, catching 73% of his passes. Walker doesn't do much through the air with a low 11.5 yards per reception, and he doesn't create much after the catch either with a bottom 6 yak per grab, so he's not super dynamic. He's more of the guy you go to secure a big grab every now and then, but don't expect too many fireworks. Overall, he's graded 18th of 45 receivers in the Southeastern. Fourth in targets with 25 is the 6'5", 250-pound senior tight end Trey Watson. He struggles with securing the ball with the league's lowest 60% reception rate for tight ends. When he does get the ball, he's slightly above average in yards per reception and yards after catch per reception, but due to that lack of dependability, he's ranked 14th of 16 SEC receiving tight ends. Finally, at fifth in targets is true freshman Terry Bussey. He's got 25 targets and he was the #1 athlete in the country last season, and he's a player Texas wanted to land. His stats are unimpressive currently as a young guy, but don't sleep on his ability to generate a big play as he matures. He currently does not have enough snaps to be graded. The Aggie pass blocking is decent, ranked smack dab in the middle at 8th of 16 SEC teams in unit pass blocking efficiency, giving up 9 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 66 hurries for 82 total pressures. A&M has one top 15 pass blocker and right guard Armaj Reed Adams, and 2 more in the top 50, with left tackle Trey Zune ranked 22nd and injured left guard Chase Basantis ranked 42nd, and Basantis can likely return for the Texas game. The A&M run game is the focus of the offense. They're actually unbalanced here, rushing a large 59% of the time. It's resulting in an above-average 4.6 yards per rush, good for 48th in the country, and they are consistent with a 38th ranked rushing success rate as well, while being slightly above average in rushing explosivity. It's a respectable run game, but that's been called into question with a major injury a couple weeks ago. Future NFL back Le'Veon Moss was the lead horse before he went down for the season early in the South Carolina game. He was 3rd in the SEC in yards per attempt, picking up 6.3 yards per rush. Moss could always pick up more yards than what was blocked for as well, with a 2nd best yards after contact per attempt, and he could house it with a top 10 breakaway percentage. And he was one of the most productive backs in the pass game, so it's pretty easy to be a rushing offense with such a talented back. But that option is off the table now, and they have to tap into their depth. The 5'9", 215-pound junior Amari Daniels is the top back now, and he's got some good and some bad. Down to down, he isn't getting it done, ranking 17th in the SEC in yards per attempt. But Daniels does pretty well with a 10th ranked yards after contact per attempt, and he can get up to speed in a flash. He's able to hit the home run with a 12th ranked breakaway percentage. Not super consistent yet, but solid for a number 2 back. Overall, Daniels ranks 6th of 29 SEC runners. But that 3rd string back has been in flux. E.J. Smith, son of Emmitt Smith, was the rotation answer versus New Mexico State, but he didn't get any rushing attempts versus Auburn. Smith is averaging an awful 3.5 yards per carry. That would be second to last in the SEC. So it's not looking great there, and he doesn't have enough snaps to be graded. A&M is also utilizing receiver Terry Bussey in the backfield as well to try to increase the athleticism from the position, but he's averaging just 4.3 yards per carry on 13 rushing attempts. And he also doesn't have the snaps to get a grade. And 5-star Reuben Owens has been out all season with a leg injury, but recently Elko has added him back onto the injury report, so it's likely gamesmanship, but I guess there's a small chance he could return. But in totality, the A&M running back room is struggling to demonstrate true depth now that star running back Le'Veon Moss went down. And the run blocking has actually been pretty good, with a 29th ranked offensive line yards and a 24th ranked rushing power success rate able to get those dirty yards. 4 of the 5 starters are top half SEC blockers. Right guard Armaj Reed Adams is 4th. Right tackle Demetrius Crownover is 8th. Left guard Chase Basantis is 15th. And left tackle Trey Zune is 29th. So they are helping the backs out. This is a good Texas A&M offense with the 41st ranked points per drive, a solid floor of talent, and good offensive coordination. Overall, this is the 32nd ranked offense in the country in the advanced metric OFEI. The Texas defense has to be focused on the run this game since it's heavily relied upon by A&M. The Horns hold the advantage here though, as Texas is the 7th best rushing defense in the country, giving up just 3.1 yards per carry, versus a slightly above average 48th ranked Aggie rushing offense. And that rushing offense has been performing worse since the loss of Moss as well, and they are on a downtrend. If you stall out the running backs, make sure we can handle the quarterback run as well. I don't worry here, as Texas faced a statistically better runner in Taylon Green at Arkansas, and we had no issues. Plus, PK has faced Klein's offenses before, and he shut down their rushing attacks repeatedly. If that part of the game is handled, Reed will be forced to pass more often. And there's two parts to this. First, let's talk about the pass rush component. Reed is effective at getting free from the pocket, but he can still take sacks, as A&M is 77th in QB sacked percentage. Pair this with Reed's proclivity to throw deep and hold the ball too long, the Texas pass rush should have ample opportunity to bring him down as the 16th best team, averaging 2.8 sacks per game. Auburn sacked Reed 4 times, and they're 37th in sacks per game for reference. Beyond just the pass rush, A&M being forced to pass more benefits Texas as the #1 passing defense in the country, giving up just 5.1 yards per attempt. Our experienced athletic defensive backs match up well with the A&M receivers, and we're second in the country in interceptions per game too. Reed does take care of the ball, but in this situation, he would have to try to make plays, and that's increasing the chances of a mistake. And Texas has proven to capitalize when opposing quarterbacks play unsound. As you can see, I like the Texas defense versus the A&M offense matchup on paper, and the Longhorns could easily frustrate the Aggie offense, as Texas remains the #1 defense in the country in the advanced metric DFEI. But even though I feel confident in the Texas defense versus the A&M offense, there could be some trouble brewing on the other side of the ball. But before we hit the defense, the sponsor of today's video is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a skill-based daily fantasy sports app where you can make college football player projections all season long. How does it work? You select 2 to 6 players and choose more or less on their PrizePick projections. It could be passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, and more. And if those players score more or less than their PrizePick projection, you can win up to 100 times your money this football season. I do a lot of Texas and opponent research, so I like to put my insights to the test, and PrizePicks is a fun way for me to put my money where my mouth is. Just hop on the PrizePicks app or website, go to the college football tab, and check out the player projections. It's a smooth process where you can make your entries in 60 seconds or less with fast withdrawals. It's that easy. As a first-time depositor, use promo code TexasHomer and get $50 instantly once you play $5 in lineups. You don't need to win your lineup to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So sign up for PrizePicks, use promo code TexasHomer at sign up, and add even more excitement to your game day. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Link in the description. Mike Elko is a proven defensive mind, and he's been able to field an impressive unit in just his first year. They are aggressive, playing a lot of man, and it definitely puts stress on opposing teams. And that pressure can cause teams to melt. But there's one massive weakness in the Aggie defense. If you know how to counterpunch, this team is 131st in the country in giving up the explosive play. The Aggies are currently strongest against the run, 31st in opponent yards per rush, 19th in defensive rushing success rate, but 128th in opponent rushing explosivity. On the interior, starting defensive tackle Albert Regis is their best run stopper, ranked 26th, but the edge is where A&M houses its best players. Starting edge Shamar Stewart is the 3rd best run stopper in the league. Opposite starting edge Nick Scorton is 11th. That's 2 top 15 run stoppers, and both players are mocked as first rounders currently. Over on the second level, Mike linebacker Scooby Williams is ranked 7th. And the DBs have a few options. Starting strong safety Marcus Ratcliffe ranks 9th. Rotational safety Dalton Brooks ranks 52nd. And rotational nickel Brian Mays ranks 59th of 120 SEC secondary run stoppers. And with a solid run defense, you can force teams into passing downs. The A&M defense is known nationally for their pass rushing, but it's currently overhyped. A&M is 45th in the country in sacks per game. That's good, but not elite. And 57th in quarterback sack rate. Pretty good, not elite. But what they are really good at is getting QBs to move off their spot and make difficult throws, and that's hard to quantify in a stat line. On the inside, only tackle Shamar Turner is top half at 24th with 19 total pressures, 2 of which are sacks. For the exterior though, Jack Cassius Howell is actually their best pass rusher, ranked 11th with 25 total pressures and 3 sacks. Projected first rounder Nick Scorton is 21st with 33 total pressures, 4 of which are sacks. But opposite starting end, Shamar Stewart isn't even top half with just 2 sacks on the season. So this unit has some high projected draft picks, but they are being overvalued currently. For example, Texas has 3 edges with 4 or more sacks. A&M just has 1. Going up a level, will linebacker Torian York is 13th with 16 pressures and 2 sacks. And Mike Scooby Williams barely makes the top half with 11 pressures and 0 sacks. But they do like to send a lot of unique pressures, and A&M does fire safeties in the pass rush. Either they're standing on the line before the snap or they'll send them from depth. Rotational safety Dalton Brooks is their best third-level rusher, ranked 4th in the SEC with 6 pressures, 1 of which is a sack. So A&M has the NFL talent in the pass rush, but they don't perform at the level they should, and this allows teams to pass more effectively. Currently, A&M is 54th in the nation in opponent yards per pass, and they are able to limit teams down to down, ranked 16th in opponent passing success rate. But due to their over-aggression and emphasis on man, they leave themselves open for the knockout with the 120th ranked defensive passing explosivity. You can get massive plays by straight up slipping behind them or catching something short, forcing a missed tackle, and running the whole way home. The linebackers are technically above average here, but they're not great pass defenders. Mike Scooby Williams is ranked 24th, and Will Torian York is 26th. Of the DBs, rotational nickel Brian Mays is 14th, and he's made some timely interceptions this season with 3 picks. Starting safety Bryce Anderson is 19th, and starting corner Will Lee is 39th. Rotational safety Dalton Brooks is 58th, and starting safety Marcus Radcliffe is 59th. So there is a good amount of top half guys because they are actually solid down to down, but all of them can be had by a fast receiver or a mental lapse. The focus on man coverage here is a live by the sword, die by the sword kind of thing. The A&M defense can absolutely give teams a run for their money because they have NFL talent and a scheme that likes to force the issue. But their greatest strength is their greatest weakness, and they give up the long strike with this high-risk, high-reward style. But overall, they are the 18th ranked defense in the country in the advanced metric DFEI. So how does all this affect the Texas offense? I'll admit I'm a bit nervous here as the Texas offense can stall and look pedestrian versus semi-competent pass rushing. And A&M, though overvalued, still has a really good pass rush. Watch their games. Quarterbacks like Nussmeier, Thorne, and Sellers all had to sidestep, evade, and create outside the pocket on key downs. And simply put, that's not Quinn Ewers' strength. And he was hobbled versus Kentucky, though he's likely going to play. There's potential here of a Georgia-like performance if Sark, Quinn, and the O-line can't capitalize on the explosive pass when A&M overcommits their resources. It takes decisive, accurate passing to make these styles of defenses pay. And sometimes Ewers displays that. Sometimes he doesn't, so it's tough to project. The Longhorns offense is 18th in yards per pass, so this is still a great Texas passing offense. It's just hard to know if Sark's going to bring the beaters and Quinn has one of his better days. In the run game, it's pretty simple. Hold on to the damn football. That's how you lose these type of games. Luckily, A&M is 91st in the country in forcing fumbles, so it's not something they're good at naturally, but best believe they're going to be drilling punching the ball out all week. The run game will prove crucial on early downs to keep us out of passing down situations to avoid the aforementioned pass rush. Texas is 43rd in yards per rush and A&M is 31st on defense, so the Aggies do hold the advantage in stopping the Texas run game on paper. The Aggies do give up a ton of long runs, but Texas is one of the worst rushing explosivity offenses, so we likely won't even be able to capitalize on this weakness. The A&M defense is elite on standard downs, ranking 4th in the country. They consistently force offenses into passing downs and put them behind the sticks. But what's interesting is Texas is 12th in the country in passing down success rate. So we can make plays even in the worst situations generally, but still it's not ideal to let A&M's aggressive defense just sit there and tee off on us. The real lesson here is, did we grow from the Georgia game, or can Ewers, the offensive line, and Sark be overwhelmed again? We will have to see, because there's a real chance here for a low-scoring game with both offenses potentially struggling. Beyond the hate and rivalry, I'm so excited this game is back. It's important for the state, both universities, and fan bases, and it's a damn shame we let it get away from us in the first place. But this time, there's a lot on the line. Whoever wins this game is going to play for the conference championship, and A&M has never been in this situation, and Texas wants nothing more than to prove itself in its new league. Kyle Field's atmosphere is likely to be one of the greatest of all time, but that can also be a double-edged sword. If Texas gets out early, that's like 110,000 people nervously twiddling their thumbs, and that can have an effect on A&M as well. And then, of course, if A&M takes the lead, the crowd is going to be deafening. But right now, before the game, before the chances to revise or make any excuses, I want to say this game matters, and it's a must-win set apart from the SEC game being on the line. This one's going to be electric, and I cannot wait for Saturday night when the Texas Longhorns face off against the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies at Kyle Field. Thanks for hanging out. Watch some more of my videos here, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to support quality Texas content. As always, hook 'em.